So we're going to start. But to start with, I just want to first of all touch base with you guys as to how you're currently finding using the app so far. Have you actually been using it at all?
Hey, it's Dawson here. I haven't been using it. I've signed up just because I'm interested in learning a little bit more
Have
about
you
it.
been using the app?
I haven't.
Because what I'm hoping to do today, as much as I have things that I know I could share, I think the time will be better served if I'm answering questions as well that you feel you'd like to have answered. So have you actually used the app yet?
I haven't.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything. Let me see. Maybe it's very helpful if I switch on my. Hello? That's not right.
Hello.
Why am I not hearing anything? Hello? 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 Oh, I can hear now. Cool.
Can
Good.
you hear?
Yes. Hi, Dawson. All right.
Hey, how's it going?
Fine, thank you. Yeah, I had my speaker muted, obviously.
I've never done that before. I'm sure nobody else has either.
Okay. Have you actually used the app? So I was trying to hear.
I have not.
You haven't.
No.
But did you buy the app?
No.
Okay. So okay, good. So I'm just having a feel of the kind of crowd we have, a mixture of
Yeah,
people's. Yeah,
I just wanted to get a better understanding of it, and I thought that this would be a good way to do so.
I see. Oh, good. Okay. Yes, if you can hear me, do you have the app? Do you have anybody online so far that has the app?
Yes, I have the app. I
Oh,
don't have it installed yet.
you haven't.
Yeah,
You got
I
the
did
app.
this card. I have the app.
You got the app, and have you installed it? Have you used it?
Yes, I have.
Oh, cool. And how are you finding the use of the app so far?
I love it, except my machine is not 32 gig grams.
Okay, so it's a bit
It takes
slow.
a bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's slow. I just have 16. So
16 gigabytes RAM.
for me to write 20 articles, it takes about 2 days.
Wow,
But
that's quite
I
long.
have my patience.
Oh, that's quite long. Okay.
And then I ran it through the Humanize and check it.
Humanizer.
And it's lovely. It's lovely. Yeah.
It's lovely. It's working. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah.
So we may be able to talk a little bit about maybe things you could do to tweak your system, perhaps to make it faster as well. 2020, you should be able to write at least an article in 30 minutes. At least an article in 30 minutes. Okay, so who else has used the app? Who else online who's used the app?
I haven't been able to get the download on the LLM yet. I've got to go somewhere that I can get that. I only have dial-up.
Okay, so you're struggling to actually download the LLM itself.
Yeah, because it's such a huge file, right?
It's a huge file, yeah. It's a 7 gigabyte file.
Okay, on my mobile.
Okay, cool. All right, so since we have a mixture of people on in here, we have people who've got the app, we've got people who just want to find out a bit more about the app, and we have people who are using the app and perhaps struggling with the speed of it. And I guess the big thing is that there was a time when, if you can all remember, I'm guessing you're all members of Closest Copy, when we were struggling to get Closest Copy to work, where we would be complaining to Nico about how the whole thing is slow. But we've got to an age now when we can actually have our own LLM on our own computer and our own system. I think it's amazing that it's happening in the first place. There are things still coming, which I'm still trying to play with, because there are new LLMs in the scene now that are very, very small in size. So there's one that's actually 1 gigabyte in size. So for a lot of people who are struggling with the speed for the 7 gigabytes, the 1 gigabyte one might work a lot better, but I'm still trying to work it out to make it work on the system. Okay, so welcome to the program today. And today, what I'm going to try and do, we're going to talk about the app itself, what the app is about, how the app can benefit you. We're going to look at how you can take advantage of the different aspects of the app. I would like to touch on a little bit on things you can do to make it faster. So perhaps a good place to start. What questions do you all have?
Yes, I guess I do. I would love to see load this up,
I
and show
cannot.
me how,
I cannot hear the question properly. Do you mind repeating?
I'm sure. See rundown using the app.
Okay, I didn't hear. Did anybody hear that? No, it wasn't clear. Maybe type it then if you can hear. So whilst it's typing, anybody else? Any questions? Anything you definitely want answered today? Okay, nothing else. Okay.
I had a question about when you'll be incorporating the the review.
Okay, the affiliates. I've got loads of people asking me for that. So I have it definitely planned. At the moment, I'm trying to incorporate a system to make people be able to edit the keywords and the titles in the silo so that you can make it more relevant to what you want, if that's what you want. I'm working on that for now. After I finish working on that, I'll be working on the affiliate thing. So I try to make reviews to help people be able to get reviews. I'm studying about how to do it now because I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it in a way that will be the most effective and most useful for people. So if you guys have systems, affiliate systems that you use, if you have people you follow in their tutorials, you can suggest those to me as well, because I could use that as a guide towards creating something that works better for you. Okay. So I want to see how you work with the program. So Lamis wants to see how I work with the program. Okay. Okay. So as we can see, you can all see this screen now. I'm just showing you the private LLM now. We may be changing the name soon because I understand that somebody has already copyrighted private LLM. So I might be changing that name soon. But you can see the user interface. So the first bit is the chat bit. And this is the first thing that we created. Then we got a silo, and the idea of the silo is it's going to help you create authority sites where you want to rank for different keywords, and you can create a number of articles around one word. I'll explain that in a second. And then also we've got the basic things that you usually have, like headlines, intros, body, conclusions, social, and email to support the silo. I have planned coming, like we said, the review, and I'm still working on the idea of whether we're going to actually add like a sales page right on here. All depends on what people feel they would like to have on this. I have people also putting in the requests. So if you have a request of things you feel you'd like to see on here, I'll also be adding those to that. Okay, so I just want to first show you something about how valuable this is. In other words, the bottom line is the reason we're doing all of this is because we want to write articles, and we want to write articles that rank online. Yeah. And the way I have gone about creating how should I say, the innards of this, I've created it in such a way that the articles it writes for you will be articles that just rank on Google. And I'll just show you some examples of articles that I've written with the concept that I've baked into this app. I'll just kind of pull out some articles. And this is important because I know some people always have this question of, oh, Google and AI, would the articles work with AI? Would Google penalize me because I'm using AI? The truth is that Google will penalize you if you use AI and your content is not useful. There's a lot of people that they create a lot of AI content that's not useful. I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Any of you, if you've used ChatGPT, if you ask ChatGPT to write you an article, ChatGPT is going to write an article that is not in depth. If you were to take that article just like that and post it on your website, you are going to get in trouble. Google is going to penalize you eventually, because after writing a number of articles like that, you will get in trouble. There's a way you have to prompt AIs to get the goods out that you will not get into trouble. And what am I saying here? Anybody knows about something called System 1 and System 2 thinking? Do you know what that means? system one, system two thinking, especially when it comes to our learning process, our thinking process. No, no takers. Okay, just say briefly, because of the way LLMs have been created, they've been created to mimic the way humans think. And part of the way humans think is we actually use this thing called system one and system two thinking. System one thinking is more automated and is more subconscious thinking. System two thinking is more conscious and on purpose. Now, system two thinking requires you to use a lot of analysis, a lot of problem solving, a lot of ordering of your thoughts, and it's a lot of work. So, for example, if you are trying to study an article, you'll be having to use system two thinking. So, system two thinking can tire you out very easily. System one thinking would be like, okay, if I threw a ball at you and you just suddenly move to catch the ball without necessarily planning to catch the ball, is system one thinking that's caused you to react like that. So in other words, system one thinking is automated, it is subconscious level. What am I saying now? What does it have to do with what we're doing today? When you prompt an LLM, you have to realize that there's a system one and system two thinking going on. If you prompt LLMs, the immediate answer they will give you is based on their system one thinking. In other words, it's based on the basic level automated response, almost like a knee-jerk answer. In order to get the goods out of an LLM, you have to prompt it in a way that you are getting into the system two thinking. So you're causing the LLM to use its analytical processes. And when it uses analytical processes, it brings up more useful and good material for you. So the way I've coded the requests into the app here, I've used system two thinking in a way to help the LLM. Whenever you write anything, it always brings up useful, credible content. It's very good. Okay, can I just check? Did that all make sense, or did I just fly over your heads? Can I just check?
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense. Good. Good.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It does. Okay. So I guess the question is, do I have any proof of this working? You all know that I have a website called stresstherapist.net, and that's my main thing. I'm a psychotherapist, and I have this website that deals with stress. So part of what I have been doing is using these same processes to write articles for my website. And I'm going to show you a number of. I think it's strange because almost all my articles are now on page 1 of Google. Almost all that I've written using this process. So here's one. And it's going to happen that the ones I decide to show you now is not on. Have they changed it? Okay. Oh, they are. Okay. Stresstherapist.net. I thought Google was going to show me up online just now. So this is the first page. I'll show you another one. Use this one. Okay, so the ones I'm actually showing here, I haven't actually checked before whether I'm coming up. Okay, this actually also first page. Now, people may wonder, okay, maybe it's coming up because this is because of my previous search. So let's go and do a new private window. The reason why we go for private window is because then Google is not showing me my history of search. And that actually shows you all these articles that I've written with the process that is baked into Private LLM is coming on in the first page of Google. Let's find another one quickly. Again, I'm just choosing anyone at random here. I'm not choosing anything I've checked before. Okay, so this one, people might think, okay, maybe, what if I just take off that? Let me see whether it will push my page out. Okay, I'm still on the first page here. Take one more. Again, on the first page here. Again, I'm saying this has not been something I've searched before. I'm just doing them, putting them in and saying, okay, am I on the first page? But why am I talking about being on the first page here? You want to rely on a process that will not only work now, but will continue working going forward. And this is why I was talking about level 1 and level 2 thinking, because when we're thinking about the way LLMs think and the way Google or search engines think, Search engines, in reality, they're all AIs themselves. So they think like AIs. And so when we actually lean into the AI and allow ourselves to use the processes that the AI naturally has in the writing process, what happens is you write articles that can actually stand the test of time. And this is what I believe, because eventually I believe a lot of articles are going to be written through AI eventually. But still, the articles that I don't know, did you hear recently there was this release of on Google? They released helpful content update, algorithm update. And the idea was Google decided that a lot of content was being created, generated in mass that was not necessarily helpful. And I think a few months ago they released this update, and a lot of people just lost their website. That of interestingly, what happened to my website is a lot of my pages came up to the top. Okay, so I'm hoping that has shown clearly that the system works. Does anybody have any doubt that the system works now? Before I carry on,
Nope, not for me.
cool. No doubts that the system works.
I found the articles in incognito mode on the first page too. So I'm obviously a different location than you, but it's good to see that.
Right. Okay.
See.
You're testing it out to see whether it's working on your side too. Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's working there too.
Yeah, it
Right.
is.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. We know it's working, and I've explained the system one and system two thinking. If I just show you, right? So for those who are new here, so this is the app here, and the app itself, you don't install it on your system because it just comes out as a file you can just run. It runs, but it is not installed on your system. So what happens is you've got to have three different files. We've got to have the server. And why do we need the server? We need the server to actually run the large language model. And the server, so this is the large language model we are currently using, Neural Chat version 3. I've got a few that I'm testing. Tiny Llama, this is the one that is currently 1 GB compared to the 7 GB that we're currently using. I think it's amazing that we could actually get 7 GB working, where before it used to be 70 GB that they used to have to use. That would just stop even my computer. So for those who are still figuring out how to install this, you need to get the server. I have there is a page on the website that's just a getting started page. So you need to get a server, install the server. Once you install the server, you go to this page, this magnifying glass, and type in Neural Chat. You type in Neural Chat, it usually come up here, and it would usually be the last one here. This is one that I downloaded. Now I work with this one because this is one of the ones that I found does what I want it to do. And what do I mean by that? Unfortunately, the LLMs can be quite stubborn in that you instruct them and they just do what they want to do. You have to instruct them in a certain way, because you have to instruct them to give you the prompt, but you also have to instruct them to give you the prompt in a specific way so that it fits in with the coding that you are doing. So that, because we're trying to get an automated system. So Neural Chat is the one that's worked the best so far for me now. So I advise we get that Neural Chat. You could try different ones with the app. Some of them will work, but they will work with different sort of problems. So I would suggest, if you are struggling for now to actually download the 7 GB one, you could try Tiny Llama. But if you use Tiny Llama with my front end, it will have some problems because I haven't quite coded it for Tiny Llama. But if you try Tiny Llama, one of the good things here is that this particular server also has a chat mode where you can use to chat with it. It's just that it doesn't give all the bells and whistles like I have with the app that I created. Okay, so that's how you get the large language model on your system. And then once it's on your system, you go to this icon that has two arrows pointing opposites to each other and load the large language model and then click Start Server. So I just stop the server. So it's loaded now. You just click Start. You can clear the space here. So this space here, this is your log. This is actually showing you what the LLM is doing. So if we go to the app, so we're using the chat interface. So this chat interface, this is a little bit like what ChatGPT does, where you just put in your query and it responds. So what query can I say? What is an LLM? So as you can see, the chat, I've created it in such a way that it's streaming from the app, from the LLM. So on the chat surface, if you were to go to the server, all you will see is continuing to stream. So it's just streaming straight to the chat. And it's relatively fast. Can I abort? So in the chat surface, I would say the chat itself can actually write you articles if you want to use it. You could just ask it to write you an article. But again, the prompt you give it would determine how in-depth the article is that it gives you. I would say you need to write very good prompts to get good articles out of it, just like you would for ChatGPT. And it will give you a good article too. So for the chat surface, one of the things that people have complained about was that when they write an article, it tends to stop. And that's unfortunately the nature of LLMs, is that they have a context length. In other words, the amount of words it can write at a go. This is occurring for a number of reasons. One is that the LLM doesn't have a very big memory, random access memory. In other words, how for us human beings, we have two memory systems. One is accessed that and needs to be accessed in real time as we are doing something, and the other is accessed whenever you need to get deeper knowledge. So the same thing with the LLM, we only have the context length for the real-time access memory. That's just a rough way to say it. And unfortunately, that would mean that it will stop and not often finish writing the article. And that's why I have coded in a continue button that once you just press continue, it looks at what you have written there and then tries to continue from that point. Okay. So this is the chat, and it gives you all the kind of functions that you find mostly with ChatGPT, except for the new GPTs that they've created there. Any questions about the chat? Is that clear how to, it's clear how you install, it's clear what the chat is doing, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. That's great.
Okay. So of itself, even the chat itself is quite valuable already, because you can use the chat to do a lot of things. And the way the chat works is that the LLM you can have a conversation with the LLM because it remembers the things that it has said previously. I had to code that into it. Okay, so then there's the silo. Like I said, the silo is the process I use to get a lot of my articles on the first page of Google. And so the idea here is you type in one word. Let's say you want to rank for, off the top of my head, you want to rank for microphones, because I have a microphone in front of me. You want to write for microphones in the UK, let's just say. I would usually say, okay, to rank for microphones, let's say I've done my research and I found a website that is currently ranking, and they seem to have about 20 articles on microphones. Yeah. I'll just say, okay, I want to create 20 articles on microphone. Now, the way I've created it is that it's going to now find semantically related words to microphones in the UK. In other words, it's looking for keywords that it would expect Google to look for when it's and relates to microphone. So, in other words, you don't need to go around doing keyword research as much. As long as you do keyword research for your seed word, you don't have to do too much keyword research. And then you don't have to do too much semantic related words research. The LLM is going to do all of that for you. So if I type in write for me now, so what it's now going to do, I'm just going to show you so this is now the actual process of writing the LLM. So this is the LLM doing its thinking. I don't know if you all know that the way the LLM works is that they're like guessing machines. They're all just guessing the next word guessing the next word, guessing the next word. And so really what it's doing here now, it is running, for my system, I've put it to 20 threads. So it's running 20 separate threads as it's trying to think through the request I've created. I've requested it. So those 20 threads, it's using that to compute the information that we're asking it to give us. Again, and please, if I'm explaining anything and I'm explaining too complicated, please call my attention to it. I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible. Sorry.
Yes, I think you took us through the server. Could you just take us through the settings on the server? Go back, please.
Okay, the settings on the server. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
How to optimize these settings? Yes.
Okay. It's important to also know how much your system can take. You need to understand, okay, your CPU, how many threads can your CPU run at a go? Mine can run up to 24 threads at a go. I've set it to 20 because I noticed if I go higher than 20, my system starts to freeze. This would also work if you have an NVIDIA GPU. It will also help you with the speed. Because I've got an NVIDIA GPU on my system, so I've ticked the GPU offload, and it's using 10 layers of my GPU. If you don't have an NVIDIA GPU, you need to uncheck this box, this tick box. So obviously, if you have the NVIDIA GPU and you tick that, it offloads some of the pressure to the GPU and can also help to increase the speed. So once you make any changes here, you have to reload. Now, I have selected Zephyr as my preset. So if you go here, where it says preset, there are a lot of different presets, and all this is just different settings for different LLMs. Some of them will work, some of them will work, but I found that Zephyr is the one that works properly for neural chat. So we need to select Zephyr, and then make sure that you got the prompt eval batch size as 512 and context length as 4,800. So this is really what would tell the LLM. This is for neural chat. Unfortunately, the neural chat, that's the biggest context length we can go to. So I've just set it to the biggest length we can go to. Does that all make sense? Yeah. Okay, let's start the server again. Okay. So as I said, with the silo itself, I'm going to be creating, I'm making changes to it so that when it creates the keyword, you can adjust the keywords. And I'm also making changes so that you can adjust the outline. So what the silo would do, it will write keywords here. And from those keywords, it's now going to write an article per keyword. So I've asked for 20 articles. So it creates 20 keywords. And for each of those keywords, it's going to write you a 3,500 word article. I'm also making adjustments to the code so that people can choose how much words they want for each article. So you can choose if you want 1,005, if you want 3,000, if you want 2,000. But at the moment, it will write 3,500 roughly per article. And at the moment, if you saw my last video where I was checking, okay, if you were to try to use ChatGPT to write a 3,500 word article, it will take you roughly 22 minutes. And this, at the moment, for me, Private LLM writes an article of 3,500 words in roughly 30 minutes to 40 minutes. So if you are finding that it's taking you a whole 2 days to write 20 articles, then there may be ways of just testing with the CPU threads and the GPU. You've got the NVIDIA to try and speed it up. I think there was someone who was taking 3 hours to write an article on the Facebook group, and I've just worked through this, and he was able to get it down to about 30 minutes. So you can also increase the speed of that. I think that was Theophilus. Was that Theophilus? Yes. Okay, yeah. Have I answered your question there?
Yes, I'm good.
Good, cool.
And the Theophilus, I'm the same as Cody.
Oh, Cody. Oh, so Cody. Okay. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's me.
Cool. Yeah, I was wondering who the Theophilus was, but
it's me. It's my second name.
That's okay. Cool. Okay. Is it clear what Private LLM does now? Any questions?
Me. I have a question. Can you go through the chat, the silo, the headlines in more specifically, just to orientate me as to what each one is in each one of those headings?
Okay. So the chat itself
Thank
is
you.
cool. So the chat itself is more like what you get with ChatGPT. I'm just assuming that everybody would have known and work with ChatGPT, and all it just does is allows you to chat with the LLM in any direction you want. You're not limited in whatever you want to ask the LLM. You could ask the LLM anything. Now, because of the way the LLM work, if you are currently working on the chat and is currently responding, you won't be able to use any at the same time because you only have one LLM and one server that you're working with. Otherwise, if you try to code the LLM to respond to more than one, it could actually freeze your computer completely and you have to start again. Okay, so the chat is basically like you use with ChatGPT, and you can ask any questions, ask to write articles. One of the things I like to do is to get the LLM to help me explore books. So you could even do that. I don't know if anybody has done that where you've taken a book and you've studied the book properly, but using the LLM to guide you, to help you actually study the book. And a book that perhaps I would take 3 weeks to read and study, I can study it in 1 hour because the LLM can just give me the in-depth of the book. So that
Continuo is pretty much straightforward. So
humanize.
what you just wrote up there, if you click on the humanize,
Yeah.
will it rewrite that content?
Okay, yeah. So the humanize is created so that it's going to humanize the content between the last line, the last 2 lines. So what you could do, because you could edit here, which is very different from what you can do with ChatGPT, you could actually edit things on here too. So
Okay.
it will now humanize all of that. It will look for the last 2 lines and humanize the last bit, or humanize anything you put in here. So if you place this any content in here and you click on humanize, it will humanize. For people who are wondering, what do we mean by humanize? So the idea is that some people are concerned that when you write an article, there's a way that LLMs write, and that it can be quite easy for people like Google to figure it out. That's an LLM that's written it. And so people want to be able to disguise it and make it look more human. So this will humanize the content and pass almost all humanizing algorithms. So testers, any AI testers online, the very top few that are very good that it look occasionally catch it. But this will humanize the content and make it sure that the LLM. So you could even write from another LLM. You could write from ChatGPT and bring it in here and humanize it. Actually, humanize it better than you would with ChatGPT. ChatGPT can't humanize things properly, and just use that humanize function and it will humanize. So again, you could paste the thing here and humanize, or you could actually add more content to here and get it to humanize as well. Was that clear, Cody?
Yes, it is.
Cool. I'm thinking of creating another module for humanize where you could just paste in your article completely and to just work through the article than getting you to do it manually here. But that's just something I have in mind on how
that would be great, because right now you copy about 300
or 400 words.
Yeah, about 300, and then you humanize and then you copy paste.
Yes.
It takes a bit of time.
It takes a bit of time, yeah. So I'm thinking of how we might be able to do that and get it automated. Okay, so that's the chat. Who was asking? Benedict? Does the chat, does that make sense? The chat section.
That's cool, man. Thank you.
Oh, cool. So the silo, again, the silo is about writing multiple articles. Is that one also making sense? Does anybody else need me to explain the silo?
Yeah, I'd love to see that just run by. Just refresh me.
Okay, so the silo, the goal of the silo is you are writing articles and writing multiple articles that are semantically connected to a keyword that you are wanting to win. Usually, what I would have done before would have been I'll go and find my keyword and use maybe Ahrefs, SEMrush, or whatever. Find my keyword first of all, Then I'll go and look for another app that helps me make semantic connections as well. And I'll find 20 or 30 different articles that are semantically related to my initial keyword. In other words, because what they're saying at the moment is that Google does not recognize one article. Google recognizes a sea of articles that are connected to one and then sees you as an authority. Once Google sees you as an authority and sees that your articles are all legit, and then it sees that, okay, you are an authority in that theme, then it starts to put your pages on page one, just like you've seen on some of my pages. So what this does for you is it does a lot of the work that you would usually have done to create a silo, and just writes the silo for you. So write all the articles. So writes how many articles you want to write. Let's say 20 articles connected to microphone, as I said in the UK. It writes all those articles and they're all related. And so you can interlink with them and form almost like an island of articles around microphones on your websites, making your website an authority. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Cool.
So that's what the silo does. And so the reason I put headlines here was that whenever I try to get LLMs to write headlines for me, they just mess up the system. They don't write the formula properly. It just has a particular type of way they write the headlines, and it just doesn't feel right. And after I've been studying headline writing for over 20 years now, different types of headline writing. And when I see those kind of things, it just doesn't work for me. So what I've done is so any title you put in here, I found different kind of formulas for headlines that will work, and I baked them into the prompt here. So all you just do is choose the headline. Let's go back to microphones from UK. And you choose a number of headlines. I usually have examples, because sometimes what I would do would be combine headlines to get a more powerful headlines. So let's just say 5 headlines and make sure that the server is started. I am going to put a label on here to make people know when the server is running, so people don't have to keep checking the server to make sure it's running. The server is just going to put in the headlines together. Anyway, stop that for now. There's an error here that I have to deal with. Let's try that again. Let's choose question. I got a bug in here. Anyway, the last update that was sent doesn't have a bug in it. I've been trying to make some changes, so unfortunately I got a bug in there. For now, that's not sure. Let's try something else. Okay, but the point here is the headline. It lets you write different types of headlines. I'm presuming that you all know these types of headlines, don't you? How to headline, list post headline, contrarian headlines, question-based headlines, mistakes and warning headlines. These are headlines that most copywriters, we just know that these are the kind of things that we want to see, but the AI doesn't quite get that right. I'm just wondering, hold on, just give me a second. I'm going to load up the last update app that I have, because I was using the one I was working on just now. Private LLM. Okay, this is what you get when you are trying to do things live, isn't it? Okay, what's happening? It's not allowing me to load. Let's check the module. Okay, there's a problem going on there. I'm going to have to restart my server. Sorry about this. I think the system is struggling a little bit because I'm doing this, webinar at the same time as trying to use the server.
Is that where changing the number of threads would make a difference?
Oh, that's true. I could reduce. No, but it's going to slow things down a little bit. And I'm trying to make it respond quicker so that we can get through the content too. Let's try that. Yeah. So that's what's supposed to do. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's working now. Okay. This one has a bit errors. Anyway, so how to nurture health relationship, how to cultivate healthy relationship. Let's try a question base. Yep. Is social media a positive tool for nurturing relationship? How can healthy communication impact relationship? Okay, and this is just coming off the word love, right? So just think about any kind of headline. I don't know if you guys have had this experience with headlines. I find that whatever I do, if I don't have the right headline, no matter how good the content is, it just doesn't work. So if you can get a good headline, that's like half the battle won already. And this is one of the reasons why I created the headline here.
Another question.
Yes, go ahead.
I realized with the silo,
Yeah.
the headlines look a bit generic.
Yes.
When you put your keywords and put the number of articles.
Yes.
Then articles generates most of them come with a comprehensive guideline. For example, if it says how to love, then it tells you comprehensive guideline on how to love. Would you advise us to generate the headlines separately?
This is one of the reasons why I'm creating the continue. Because not on this one here, the continue button that I was showing you on the app, on the one I'm actually currently working on, the version I'm working on. So the idea would be that you can stop the app, put in the keywords, change the heading to match, and to remove some of the things. Because unfortunately, one of the problems is the LLM, as I say, is stubborn. It just gives you. So I try to work out to try and reduce some of those unwanted phrases that we'll just place in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So we will be able to change that up here, and then that will give it a chance to give you less of those types of problems. Yeah. So I'm working on that. Unfortunately, it looks like the last thing I've done, I've broken it. So I have to go work on that later on. Cool. Does that explain that though? Yeah.
Understood. Yeah.
Cool. All right. And so we got intros, and the idea of intros is that if you've ever noticed, AIs, they are very bad at giving intros and conclusions, introduction and conclusions. And I find that if I'm reading an article, if the headline catches my attention, then I want to read on. Then the introduction must also catch my attention. If the introduction doesn't catch my attention, then I've lost interest. In other words, the introduction should give me some sort of thing that will make me curious and want to read on. AIs don't seem to know how to do that. So the reason here that I've put this here is you can now generate different types of introductions as well for your articles. The silo makes some sort of introduction and conclusion into there. But again, the AI can be quite stubborn and try and just give you what it wants to give you and doesn't quite work too well. So you can then use your intros and conclusions from here and add to your articles. And that's why these are there. It just gives you more options of what to do. And again, you may find that sometimes the silo, the AI gave you a particular section that didn't quite work well, right? And so we got a body function here. So you could enter in like the title of the article, the subheading that you were trying to write on, and choose different types of subhead body content to work into your article. So that's something you can also do if you want to do that. But one of the things I found though is that the silo is very good at writing content. A lot of what he's going to write for you, you'll find that you don't necessarily have to fix too much, but sometimes you may want to, just to make things more unique. And so you got that option here for the body. And then the social media and the email, I don't know about you, but I find that whenever I write an article, I want to be able to send it out to people, email it to people. It's good to just have a way of just writing a quick email, a quick social media post about the article, a quick email about the article. And that's what these are here for. Again, you could use ChatGPT, you could go to ChatGPT, but you will have to faff around a little bit before you get something you want. But this have in there baked in specific types of prompts and templates that people would usually see in an email and in a social media post. I know Benedict was asking me to go through all of that. Has that been helpful?
Yeah, man. Thank you. That's great.
Cool. Any other questions around the use of the app itself?
I have a side question, if I may.
Yeah.
I've been using Claude AI, and I found it really useful in terms of conjuring up the suggestions that you have there as a side note. And I'm curious as to what is so you're writing the interface into the LLM. So obviously you know how the LLM is structured in order to get that interface giving us results over on this screen. I was wondering how the LLM is packaged, if you can just very briefly, that you can access it with your interface.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I understand the question. Can you reframe, please?
Okay, so let me rephrase that. If I look at system 1, system 2, right? If I look at the way that the LLM is structured in order that you can interface with it, I was wondering what the structures were that allowed that to happen. Is it just like a big mass of memory but it's got to be organized in a way?
So this question is more about the LLM itself. Okay, the way the LLM is
And I don't know if you
structured.
want to. Yeah, I don't know if you want to go there because maybe it's just diversing, but a question.
I know it's going away from the content of what we're doing here, but I'm just wondering, does everybody else want me to answer that question? Everybody else interested in that? Is everybody else interested in that question? Otherwise, is Benedict? I may have to speak to Benedict separately about it.
Yeah, sure. We could do it on the podcast, for instance.
Okay, cool. Anybody else interested in that? Nobody else is answering.
I'm not sure I understood the question.
I think the question Benedict is asking is, how am I interfacing with the LLM to actually get the content out of the LLM?
This your app interfacing with the LLM.
Yeah. So what exactly is going on? What's happening? How am I getting that?
I'm guessing prompts.
Yeah, prompts. Definitely the prompt. So I'm using two things. I'm using Python language and prompts.
Okay.
Use the Python language to interact with the user itself, which is us, which is part of the interface here, and then use the Python language to request information from the LLM itself. So the server is running the LLM. There is a way where we could actually not have a server at all. I'm still toying with that idea, but at the moment, the server is running the LLM, and all I'm just doing is then passing queries to the server. The server passes the queries to the LLM, and then the LLM passes the queries back to the server and back to Python. Don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, that's cool. Thank you so much.
Cool. Any other questions there? Okay, so quickly then, upcoming changes. So as we said,
I have a question about workflow organization. When the articles are written, they all pump up where you stored the LLM and the app.
Yeah.
Is there a way you can code this so we select a folder to output the articles?
Oh, so
Because for example,
yeah, we could do that. We could definitely do that. I could code it in to actually allow you to choose a folder.
a folder to store in, yes.
To start it, yeah. So I can add that to my list of things to do.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Just to clarify for those who are wondering what we're just talking about there. So whenever you finish writing an article, each article gets saved wherever you place the app. So let's say you place the app on your desktop. When you write an article, it will save a text file with the article on your desktop. So what Cody is asking is, okay, can we actually get it to give you an option of where you save the article? So it might be like just code something that just allows you to put in the file directory for where you want it to save. Yeah. Okay, cool. So just talking about upcoming changes, I'm definitely going to be adding a review article writer, the affiliate reviews article writer. I'm going to be adding that definitely on there. People have been asking me to add a schema, so to be able to get it to write a schema for the articles as well. So I have that in plan as well. So some people have asked for ways to customize things for themselves. That's slightly harder to implement. The idea here is that to be able to actually add your own prompt. And the reason it's harder to implement is that the LLM can be a little bit, as I said, it's a little stubborn, a little bit stubborn. So trying to connect the prompts with the code, I found that sometimes just putting a full stop on the wrong place will give you a completely different response. And sometimes when you're doing something that you want automated, sometimes you need some responses to be exactly as that. So for example, if I say, give me 10 bullet points, I want to see bullet points, right? But sometimes if I just add a full stop somewhere, the LLM will decide, okay, this is not going to give you a bullet points. Like maybe you actually saw some of the examples I was trying to show here, where I was asking for a headline, it decided to give me a whole paragraph of something. I think there's something with the prompts that I have to adjust there. So it's a bit finicky, it's a bit wieldy to get it right. So I have in plan to create the option of people being able to add their own prompts eventually. But I'm hoping that as the LLMs get better, those teething problems will disappear. Okay. One of the good news is that what we have here, is still work in progress in that I'm improving it. And whenever we get a better LLM, I'm matching to the better LLM. So in other words, it's never going to go old. It's never going to go outdated, because we are going to be working with the newest and the best all the time. Cool. So that brings me to the end of the workshop. I'm hoping that it's actually answered questions people had in mind. It's made things clearer what a private LLM is doing, and you can see the value of it. I'm hoping. Has this been useful? Let me just get that feedback from you before I have nightmares of, oh gosh, I just bored them for the whole hour.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, man. That was good.
That's good. Good. Lamis, I'm just checking. I don't know. I can't remember if you said you just checking for the first time. Does it all make sense what Private LLM does? Because you said you haven't got the app yet. Type in.
Maybe turn on your mic.
Maybe it's typing. Okay. What can you install for translation in German? Unfortunately, I don't know the answer to that question quite yet. There are some. One of the things that you find is that every single country is now having their own LLMs created. So there will be some German-based LLMs already, open source, that you could try out for translation in German. However, if you are not just wanting to use the open source LLMs, there's a lot of options now available. I don't know if have you tried 11 Labs? Lamis, sorry. I don't know. Have you tried 11 Labs? Or maybe it's typing. No response. Okay. Anybody else has any other questions? Oh, look, Benedict, have to jump. Cool. Thank you so much, Benedict. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, that was great.
Great stuff. Okay. So, except anybody else wants to ask me anything else, still wrapping up, and we're going to have another exciting January with a lot of things coming up. Thanks. Okay, let me say thanks
you.
and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good night there. All right. I'm saying good night. Thinking everybody is nice, having nights where they are. Okay. Bye-bye. See you all. Okay.